What's happening, guys? It is Lord Beardo coming at you with the most anticipated video that I could put together because everybody knows how excited I was for the graveyard. Now, this is not a pro tips video, just to break this down right quick for everybody. This is your average Joe, your everyday Clash Royale player. Somebody who moves up and down the Ice Peak arena and struggles to get close to that legendary as we are pushing and waiting for our tournament standard epics and rares. So, how do you get by with using the graveyard card when you don't have the other legendary cards? This is something that we will be trying to figure out over the next couple weeks. So, getting the disclaimer out of the way, you are not watching a pro video, you are watching a true, honest opinion about the graveyard deck after having it. It's funny, and I realized this after getting the graveyard deck, how you could have a favorite card in the game but never actually play or use it. So people who have a favorite card who have never used it, it is important to get that legendary card first and then have an opinion about whether or not it's your favorite card. The graveyard bowler combination on this left hand side worked out very well, and I try different decks throughout the course of this video. A lot of graveyard bowler, but I have also messed around with the graveyard hog, the graveyard giant. So there are a bunch of graveyard decks that are out there, so it'll be exciting to see which ones that we go forward using in the future. I've fallen a lot from ladder play. I was used to using the Lava Hound deck, and I got into the Barbarian or the Elite Barbarian deck, and that was our staple for a while. Then we messed around with a little bit of that Mortar deck, and we pushed up high or mid 2,800 trophies. Now we are down low. And why? And it is because of the graveyard. So I'm going to break down the quick review of the graveyard deck. And if there is anybody out there who's really good with the graveyard, especially watching this video, if you know some tips and tricks that you are not seeing me do in the graveyard deck, it would be much appreciated on my part if you could drop a comment down below. Just write a simple line, a simple tactic, and I will try my best to replicate what you are saying during the raid. So, stacking up a lot of extra bowlers, making sure that I clear as many troops out as I can with those arrows. I got the mirror going here, so I'm just mirroring my arrows, which worked out rather well. Now this is the same deck that I used. That was the Mortar construction deck. All I did, woke up, got my graveyard card, then immediately put it in place of the current deck that I was using. I actually have not went back to using this deck very much since this exact video went down, so maybe I do have to jump back into a little bit. I used the graveyard spell here for defense, which I haven't been doing lately, and I cannot figure out when to use it for offense and when to use it for defense. So my first initial thoughts on the card is that it is a difficult card to use. It is definitely a learning curve. It is a pro card. There are things about it that you can kite as simple as an ice golem or ice spirits or a timely fireball that will take down an entire tower, which is like 7 elixir total for that, which is really cool. But for the most part, it is something that you have to wait on. You have to give yourself a little bit of a chance when you're using the graveyard card to establish some dominance. That is something that I feel like was very important. Now, I've played an array of graveyard cards since that moment. Elite Barbarian Graveyard, Hog Graveyard. One thing that I feel like I'm finding that I have a problem with is the Three Musketeer deck. It's funny, every time we mess around with the new deck, there's something that pops up that becomes tricky and hard to use, and it is right now the Three Musketeer deck. The bowler is a great option, guys, for spawner decks and Elite Barbarian decks. Plain and simple, put it right in front of your tower. They will kill it, but if it's an emergency play like I have going on here, where I put my tombstone down, I put some archers down, and I was setting myself up for the graveyard. Now, in this particular composition, I went ahead and used a freeze spell. That was one thing I found out that accompanied it very well. Now, the freeze spell in and of itself has its own quirks. When you freeze the opponent but you don't have anything dealing damage, you are simply giving him time to stack up bigger armies, and sometimes it becomes almost more complex and more complicated than just not using it in the first place. So he's going to go ahead and play his own graveyard. He's got a bowler and he has fire spirits. Good composition coming down. Goes ahead, takes out immediately my archers, and I get my ice golem down. I'm not even sure what I did with my ice golem there. It didn't really do anything. So we are behind in this match, 1,079 to 1,161. Our targeted tower is down to 1028. He is a higher ranked player. That first match that we played with it went really well, actually, because it was a higher ranked base and base. I like when I say base, like we're playing Clash of Clans. We're not playing Clash of Clans. I have to get it in my head here. So I'm going to go ahead and play the bowler, and I'm constantly waiting for the bowler graveyard combination, and it's going to work out rather well. So the bowler right now is arguably my favorite card. I wanted it to be the graveyard, and it maybe will be the graveyard in the future, but as of right now, my favorite legendary card is still the Ice Wizard on first try. Now, I understand why. The Ice Wizard is a very basic card. Super easy to use. It is a wizard, it is a cheap wizard, and it freezes your opponents. All the legendary cards are really cool because they do what a normal card would do and then a little bit extra. That's what I've come to find out from it. Or they do something that another card does, but they're a little bit cheaper in a way. So I love the concept of the graveyard, but I just need to learn it better. And the best cards that I'm seeing, the best deck builds that I'm seeing with it are usually Hog graveyards, and I am absolutely terrible with the Hog. I messed around with it all night last night, and I dropped from like 2,700 trophies all the way down to 2,400, and it was tough. So go ahead, play those archers down in the bottom right hand corner, and was able to pull the 1-star win up here. So this always comes back to the concept. Is it a 1-star deck, or is it a 2-star or a 3-star deck? Now, I think control decks, you tend to get a lot of 2-stars, like the lava decks, things like that. We're sprinkling a lot of 3-stars. This deck, the way it was built, to me, seems like it's decently defensive and not so much offensive. A lot of these are going to be replays. I'll get some live stuff in the end, but a lot of these were replays because I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to build the graveyard deck, and I was doing a lot of testing, so I didn't want to just have these endless matches that just didn't really go well for you guys. But I don't know, everybody likes to see people fall on their face, so we'll throw some live fails going down in here. So left hand side, we're gonna play our archers. They're gonna get torched up pretty quickly by those fire spears, but hold on to enough power to get rid of the Hog. Now they're going to tank for the furnace, and the perfect example of the bowler. Look at the bowl just rolling over the water, and that is awesome. That's the versatility of that deck. Our graveyard gets a hit by that log initially, and then that zap right there, but we're able to get some very minimal damage off. But now we've revealed that he knows we have the graveyard deck. So the key things that I've come to find with the graveyard deck is not revealing it openly right away. It's almost like a deck that develops in the last minute, though you can trick somebody off the bat. If somebody sleeps or slow rolls on the graveyard deck, you can use it to your advantage very quickly and sometimes take the tower. But what I'm finding is generally bring the power of their tower. Bring the power of the tower very low. That is the goal of the graveyard deck. It's the sneak attack, so you got to be very choosy as to when and where you put it down. So I play it here. He has lots of defenses. It's going to work out pretty well against that Inferno Tower. He does zap it. So we're pulling down a little bit, but you watch as they stack up because he doesn't have multi-shooting like archers or wizard or things along that line. They begin to stack up a little bit. So he's pushing down with his goblin spears. Now I cannot accredit any of these players for being good that I'm playing against. I have yet to bring my graveyard deck into my clan and actually try to play it against somebody. I wanted to get a little bit of better understanding for it initially first. So Hog and Minion Horde is going to do absolute damage on that left hand side. Excuse me, I could have just taken down the Minion Horde for the most part with that zap, and that was a bad play on my part. We have 37 seconds left. 1695 is the mark on the right hand side. Bowler down, taking out that Inferno Tower. We're stacking up rather well. He gets his log down. We are to 489. We got little skeletons all over the place, and the graveyard deck works out. Left hand tower down, and we're actually somewhat in the advantage by a little over 100. Player archers going to accompany well with the tombstone and using that ice golem. Our bowler is now making his way front center around that tower. 1070 left, about to cross over that bridge. Overtime it is. Here comes our Mega Minion to play a help against that bowler, take down that Inferno Tower before, and then move right up to help out those graveyard skeletons. And 1888 was what they got. And here we go, chipping away more. Here comes that Minion Horde Hog combination that he's been running. I zapped it. But look it. You don't even realize what was happening. I didn't even think that I was going to get the win on that one because my Mega Minion was locked onto the tower. So, we're moving along, learning the graveyard. I give it like a B+. And the reason why I give it a B+ is because, it deserves an A+, because it is one of the spells that everybody is winning all the ladders with. And I get that from a pro perspective. From a new player, from somebody who's just getting started in the game, I give it a B+ because it's not an easy installment. But with that being said, I love that it's not an easy installment. It's just first initial reaction, B+, ridiculous card, and I can't wait to see what I actually can drum up in the future with it once I go back to trying some other decks and I realize what I did and didn't like from it. Now, I got the Sparky deck and never once put together a Sparky deck combination. I don't know what to do with the Sparky deck yet, and not only did I get one, but I got 2 of them, and it's a level 2, and it's my first level 2 legendary, so I think I could probably do something crafty with it, but I'm not sure. Now, I'm going up against the Lava Hound Hog deck here, and he's got Valkyries, and he's got minions, so we kind of know the deck that he's running here. Our bowler is going to tank very well, and when you don't have a good air troop, when you don't have a dragon or minion horde or something along that line, you can really abuse that bowler card and play that card for a long time. It will stay alive for a long time. He plays his defense here with his dragon, and he puts his minions down. I was going to go for the freeze, but I was like, alright, let me just chip down some of his attack here instead of freezing it up and just getting, a couple hundred off. I wanted to save my attacks. Mega Minion down pretty quick. Ice Golem goes down. That's going to save a little bit of power, but we are definitely playing from behind, and we're going to have to play very smart here. So, coming up into this win condition, if only I could just pause the game and think for a second, but it doesn't work that way. I was trying to think, could I run something behind that Ice Golem, or should I have just stacked up my elixir? These are the questions you cannot determine in this split of the moment. You just gotta go, and hopefully your mind is just retaining all this information. But here comes that bowler and the graveyard. The bowler's gonna get a good amount of hits off. I freeze it. It only rolls one more ball and then blows up. Down to 1079. The zap spell is just gonna help out the Archer Tower. Ice Golem to kite that baby dragon. Here comes my graveyard archer combination to take down his attack, and he's been running his attack pretty much the same exact way. Now, he got switched up. Not sure exactly why he switched it up. He switched himself up, and he gets a bunch of damage down, so he actually got us very low, which would have worked out really well for himself had he not switched lanes. So, a lot of times you switch up lanes. Why not go the same route that he's going? Switch the lanes. We got an impressive push on our side. Our Mega Minion's doing well. We're going to freeze up his minions, and look at that graveyard go. He zaps it up, brings it down. Look, he's so angry. 457. Archer's down. He's making his push on our right-hand tower. Little preemptive with that clone spell. Just pretty much zapped the whole thing away. Now we got Bowler, Archer's graveyard. He's going to play Hog. We should have played some defense against that Hog first and then went to Graveyard. But we played the Graveyard, and the Graveyard chips it down, and we had to freeze the Hog for the finish. So, we're learning a little bit. We are definitely starting to find out that you have to put that graveyard spell down in the proper time, in the right time. It's the sweet spot, man. It's like driving a stick shift. You gotta know where the sweet spot is and when to throw it down into the next gear of the attack, and don't just play defense. This actually worked out really well, this deck for me, so I might have to go back to it because the current deck that I'm using, and I was trying to go with Elite Barbs in Graveyard or a Hog Graveyard, and those two just absolutely killed me. There was no building phase. There was no growth of the raid. It was just Non-stop attack, non-stop attack. We're going to use one ice golem, put our freeze spell down. If we waited a split second longer, it would have worked out better. But we went ahead and zapped, and look at that tower down on that right-hand side with an ice golem, a graveyard spell, and archers. Not bad. Now, he only had a skeleton and a miner to play defense, so it's not like he had the best defense, but that's the joy of this deck. So the giant deck is going to grow slowly. I could have definitely played a little bit more defensively in this initial push here. Now, he is a level 7, so a lot of times when I'm playing that low of a level, maybe they bought their cards. I'm not sure exactly how the process works, but we're going to play our archers on his princess. But look, they don't even pay attention. Oh my goodness, perfectly played on his part. He takes down all of our defense, and now our tower on that right-hand side is getting absolutely pounded. I should have never played the bowler, or maybe played the bowler on his side. Look at all these cards he has left on my side here. I'm going to play that bowler, suck up a little bit of defense from, I guess, all the defense. Don't know what to play. I'm panicking here. Ice Golem still going to go down to stop that Sparky from hitting our left-hand tower. We still have a better advantage on that left-hand side, so we'll see what we can accomplish. Now he's going to actually push his giant right into our face, and this is going to be a lot easier to deal with that giant. We have all of our reach card here, all of them, so we are going to go ahead and try and freeze these two up so that we could play a little bit of defense. Should have timed this differently, should have been ready for the zap first and then maybe the freeze, but we were able to stack up a couple of those skeletons from the tombstone, which helped out. But now we have nothing but air in our face, and look at this, freezing up that Sparky, trying to save ourselves here. We got 30 seconds left. We take down those princess, 392 left. Here comes the bowler, 20 seconds left on the match. Giant has to get defense against it. His minion horde is going to terrorize our bowler. We are going to play that ice golem and then play the zap around our graveyard. But look at what's happening. We freeze it all up, and he is going to smash us that easily. So, definitely didn't play the right type of defense. Level 7 takedown. I'm sure he's very happy about that. And we ultimately played our freeze spell wrong. So, freeze spell, very difficult to kind of get used to. It doesn't allow for you to take any of the troops down, but it doesn't matter. We only need one more crown to get our crown chest for the day. We're going up against a 10, and we are going to try our best with this graveyard. I'm so excited. Can you guys tell how excited I am with this? We had an amazing holiday. We went ahead and got some good live streams off. We've been putting out good videos as much as possible, working our tail off over here, and we are just enjoying the fact that we got this graveyard card and we have some good content to put out there. All the Clash of Clans updates and Clash Royale updates has been so much fun. Arena, the jungle arena is going to be out in maybe like 10 days or so. I'm not sure exactly the time, but it's definitely coming out rather soon. We're going to get all those new cards, mess around with them, and all in all, we just had a great holiday season. Hope you guys did as well. And now we are on to trying to figure out how to put together more pro decks. I don't even think that zap spell did anything. 242 on that right hand tower with our initial graveyard push, and that's what I was saying before. You could totally throw him off guard in the first attack, but now, alright, now he's ready. Now it's all about how you can stack up using the graveyard card to your advantage moving forward. Here we go, dropping down our archers, helping out. Here comes that wizard, which is just going to soak up the kills so quickly. We're going to really not play good defense, 482 on that left hand side, but now we know he has a royal giant. We are going to use that ice golem to try and get as close to that tower as we can. It doesn't do much damage at all, slows down that Valkyrie. And here's that hog deck that we were trying to master, trying to maybe pull and confuse that Valkyrie. Worked out rather well. Fireball to stop any defenses in anticipation. He had none. Here comes this P.E.K.K.A play, and our Hog actually did some really good work. We're going to use these right-hand side archers. He arrows them and takes them down. We were trying to go for the quick win right there on that right-hand side. We're into the last minute. Have to figure out how to deal with this P.E.K.K.A. We're going to use the Mega Minion to help out with that P.E.K.K.A. real quick. And we know he's got this left-hand tower. So we're going Hog right-hand side. Here comes his Inferno Tower. We're going to zap it and basically waste our Hog. And this is the problem that I've been having with this Hog. I cannot quite figure out how to use the Hog Rider. It doesn't do any attack on any other troops. So you really need to time it perfectly. But it is so hard to time perfectly. It is so hard to decide when you're just going pure offense or when you need to play that or hold back on that Hog and play some defense and not get caught out there playing defense. That's the hardest part. So with 9 seconds left, we're going to go ahead and spread our troops out as best as we can to play some random bits of defense, slow his troops down. Our graveyard got zapped, 272 on that top left-hand tower. Here goes the tombstone. Here goes the Hog Rider. We're doing our best to just continue to kite down his troop. He's got 2 P.E.K.K.A.s, a Valkyrie, and a Wizard with 32 left. We have to play our archers before our zap, and woo! Oh my goodness. Talk about a close call there. Just moving all his troops around, and that is going to get us our last crown tower. Woo! And we are learning the graveyard slowly but surely. Let's see if we can get any good cards here. Crown Tower chest is being opened. Elite Barbs, just one measly card. Mega Minion with the 6. Minion Horde, which we haven't touched in a while, and a Prince card, which we have an upgrade for. That's going to be our chest for today. Guys, it has been super cool hanging out with you. Really, really looking forward to 2017 and really looking forward to all the new streams that we've been doing. We've been doing the 1,000 tournament for Ash. We did it two times last week. We did it on Sunday and we did it right after the Christmas, I think the day after Christmas or something. I'm going to try to snag as many of those on Sundays as I can and get some of that large tournament payout so you guys can get the password and the tournament name from me and be able to come and hang out on the stream. Thank you, Ash. Thank you, everybody who's been coming out and hanging out on our stream. It's been super fun seeing you guys. Hopefully, I get some more wins with this graveyard and can actually put together some tips and tricks for that average Clashing Joe. Peace!